Howdy, it is your humble Pisces, Diana Chu here at Slow Gaze. Welcome or welcome back. This is a new type of video for me. During quarantine, I am discovering my makeup collection over and over again. In so many ways, I'm reconnecting with it, I'm learning about it, I'm figuring out my preferences. I'm gonna share 11 plus my elbow, right? So 10 plus my elbow ideas for how to do so with your own collection. If that sounds interesting to you, please subscribe. If you want to see this kind of thing again, I upload every week. I'm all about using up my own stash, shopping my stash, and moving my collection to a more clean beauty space and things that align towards my own personal values. To quickly address what's on my face today, I am wearing the Pure Times RawBeautyKristi Pressed Pigment Double-Sided Palette. I am using Side Effect, this really gorgeous, vibrant pink. All over the lid, a little bit of Cafe Disco on the inner corner. I am also using Pat McGrath Labs Divine Rose palette, this strong fuchsia magenta as well, and then some of this, where my inner corners would be. I started this channel because I wanted to celebrate all of the makeup that I already own, as well as get excited for new releases and see what brands are up to. During quarantine, I found myself putting on makeup every single day. I wasn't on a Zoom call, I wasn't seeing people face to face, I just happened to love putting on makeup. This performative task was really positive for me, and I found that I had fallen back in love with my makeup collection. I have a special penchant for lip products and also eyeshadows, so that's where I found that I spent the most money, and I also needed to declutter or try to get back into the most. It can be overwhelming watching how much new makeup's coming on the market, watching reviews and seeing how beautiful the packaging is, or seeing the color stories that are coming out, especially the ones that are making us dream of fall or winter or traveling. I've had to rebuild my relationship with makeup and what it means to put on a face just for me, what it means to have an everyday makeup bag because I can be way more experimental now that I'm at home, and what it means obviously for my budget. I'm not spending money on clothing anymore. I've stopped buying handbags and shoes. I just care so much about makeup because it's the one thing that I can put on my face and feel like I'm creating in such a small way. That's where my money's going during quarantine. That's been a conflicting reality for me. I named my channel Slow Gaze because I wanted to take a moment and remind myself to slow down, be in the moment, and focus on not a male gaze, not a female gaze, not anyone else's gaze, but my own. And what it means for me to look in a mirror every day, either recycle negative thoughts, which was more often than not, or not using my power of meditation, self-love to bring empowerment to my day, or to soothe my fears, or just to take a moment and appreciate the body and the self that I have. This channel really started from that place. And of course with beauty, it's about changing or enhancing or coloring or expressing how you look and present on the outside. You know, that's the surface level, but I think it goes so much deeper. It really can affect how I feel and how I move and how I react to situations in the world. Hopefully this video can help you bring back a little bit of life and love into your makeup collection, and in so doing, it would expand to other parts of your life. Hopefully I can give you some ideas. I think there are about 10 to 11 ideas, a little bonus bagel at the end that you can adapt to your own needs or see what is exciting to you, and let me know if you try any of them or if any of them have sparked something in you or in your collection. I would love to hear or love to see what you are doing. This is in no particular order. Some of them will speak to you, some of them won't, but I really appreciate you watching today, and if you haven't already, please subscribe, help my channel grow. I would love to do more content like this. Let's dive into number one. I am a visual artist outside of beauty, and I love having my stuff displayed beautifully or in a way that's curated and makes me feel like it's easy to use, easy to reach for. I can visually scan and know what I'm looking for, be it skincare or brushes, but also just to have a moment and let the products breathe. This to me is so important because then I know what's in my collection at any time, feel like my space is calm. If your everyday makeup is in like a little plastic bag or in some kind of travel baggie that you use and pick up every day, that you kind of dump out of or rummage through to do your makeup, I would recommend take it all out, clean your makeup bag, and then sort it into brushes, palettes, and maybe other products that can stand up or things that maybe could lay better on a tray. You know, do your own system, but I recommend, especially for brushes, even if you have, let's say, 3 brushes, that totally warrants putting it into a pretty like pencil cup. This I brought back from my office. This is a Kate Spade, like a stroke of genius, bougie tortoise shell thing. Love it because it doesn't smush my brushes. Some of them are too short that they fall over. Some of them are too tall that they smush the sides of my brushes if I'm not careful. You can use any vintage container you may have or you might find or thrift. For instance, this oatmeal can is nice for my taller brushes, but maybe not so much for this foundation one. I even have this recycled wine glass that I bought off Etsy. Olive colored glass. Works perfectly for some brushes, and then I can see how many are in there. Already it makes me feel like they are happy, and that makes me happy. As for trays, I bought the Fenty Beauty holiday collection. Her lip glosses came in a 5-pack, packed in foam. This beautiful tin came along with it, so I kept it, and I'm putting all of my pot shadows, some ColourPop things in here. All of them are just kind of sitting here so I can see them sorted in the bottom. And then in the top, I leave it open and also use that as a tray for mascaras that I want to try. It can be absolutely anything. Eyeliners, lip products, a little shallower, but they don't roll around this way. You can also find a vintage tray, like a serving tray. This one I think also came from a Goodwill. Some of them are so gorgeous, but this one I love for larger things, or maybe like one palette can fit on here, and then I really curate maybe my hairbrush and other objects. Though tempting, I would highly, highly, highly recommend going onto smile.amazon.com and looking for like a lipstick divider, those lucite clear acrylic ones that are built exactly for lipsticks, or something that has like clear drawers like that we see in all of the welcome to my beauty room sort of videos. I think that going onto Etsy and supporting a local, like maybe if you live in the USA, you can filter by from US. That would make shipping easier for you, and you also know where it's coming from and who you're supporting. You can do that if you live internationally as well, but then clicking the little vintage filter, pre-2000. That makes it vintage by Etsy's standards, and you can find something that's been upcycled or pre-loved. Usually there's a good description. Usually it's pretty cheap, or at least around or under $20. You're supporting someone in their passion. You're also using something that's already out there. It's probably better quality. And what I found with those little plastic holders for lipsticks, because I bought 2 of them, I think they were like $8, and I regret it so much because some of my lipsticks that are slightly larger, like even the Kosas wet lip oil, that doesn't fit. And if it doesn't fit, what's the point? Also kind of mandates how much makeup you should be displaying. Whereas I feel like if you find a vessel that you love and one of your own choosing, you can really accommodate the type of collection you have. Those tell you, okay, you can only fit 12 lipsticks in here, and if you have a very minimalist collection, maybe you don't fit all those squares, and then you feel like you should fill them. And I don't love that sort of pressure. Invisible pressure is there. One last tip for Etsy is if you're on there scrolling already, maybe pick up a little talisman, little gemstone. I have this aquamarine one. I don't remember where it's from. I think it's probably from like a zoo or like a little trip. I keep it by my nightstand. You can put it by your makeup collection, and it's just giving me good vibes. I always have it with me when I'm filming. And even little trinkets that maybe are less functional. Skunk was $2 at a flea market. Make me smile and make me want to enter my beauty space a little bit more. Is it more personalized? It's not just like clear lucite boxes. It's like, hey, if you're all into this hippie shit like I am, like look at my t-shirt. Look for a handheld mirror while you're at it. I am already searching for a really perfect one. I don't want to use one by Jeffree Star Cosmetics. I don't want to use ones that are, you know, just made this decade. I want to find one maybe from like the 1920s, or that has an Art Deco look, or has like a Bakelite handle. You know, I'm all into that type of thing. So find your thing. You can find ones that are locally made, taking such a tangent on thrift shopping. Moving right along, number 2, I would recommend making a list of your ride or die makeup. It's not your fantasy makeup. It's stuff that, let's say you had to start your makeup collection all over again. What would be the top 10 things you would go out to buy? But the rule would be, it would be from something you've already owned. So it's not like a fantasy basket, it's from your own collection. This to me is like your ultimate shop your stash. you can like go in with that mentality and go through your makeup and literally pick out the items, the top 10 items that you'd be like, wow, if I lost everything right now, these top 10 things would get me through and I'd be so happy to see these again. That would make you kind of rekindle this idea and this relationship you have with these products. Like, you use them every day and you use them on your face. They're intimate tools. They help you enhance how maybe you feel that day and how you want to look. So it's a life-altering thing. And to rekindle that love with something, oh, this is so like Marie Kondo. Number 3. Clean your makeup brushes. I am guilty as charged, especially this one. It already has really sparse bristles, but it just looks like a greasy little duckling and it makes me so sad every time I see it. The ones with the lighter colored tips or the ones with the light bristles that turn brownish, pinkish, purple after like 6 months, you know who you are. Because I use paintbrushes a lot in my day-to-day outside of makeup, this is kind of how I wash my brushes. I don't have one of those like solid things or a spray thing or anything like a Artis brush cleaning pad. I don't have anything crazy. I literally bought the Sephora brand Detox brush cleaner. It's, you know, yay big. It comes out like a liquid dish soap and it's colorless. It was maybe $8. It has lasted me years and years and years and years. You don't need something fancy. Please, nothing with like a little bit of a scrub or a grit to it that will destroy your brushes. Run some warm water, put a little bit of soap, and I lay out all the brushes that I want on a clean kitchen towel or a paper towel. I dip my brush in the soap, swirl it around very lightly. The key is being so kind to your brushes because they want to last you a long time and they've been shaped to do so. Be gentle with the soap application, and then once it's sudsed all up and hopefully there's like a lot of pigment that's left on your hand, you can go in and keep your brush pointed downwards so you don't just flood this part with water and then it won't dry out perfectly or flatten the bristles with the water pressure. Like, you just want to always keep your brush pointing down in the direction of the water flow and literally angle it under the faucet and just gently squeeze it out. Gently always do this kind of squeezing motion. Turn your brush so you can reshape the bristles. Never go against the grain. Do that a couple times. Squirt a little bit of new soap in your hand. Gradually you'll find that it just loosens all the pigment out. Place it under my overhead bathroom fan on the paper towels and just let them be for maybe a night or a day. Turn them every so often as they're laying there if you are so inclined. But that way your brushes will last you a long time, synthetic or not. That's how I recommend. If by chance you do not have a brush cleaner for makeup, I actually recommend the Palm Olive Orange Citrus Scent one. That one can even get oil paint out of really delicate sable natural bristles that are meant for very fine work. You'll be just fine. Oh, next up. So this one was really exciting to me because it was inspired by the Kylie Cosmetics coconut lip liner that I use every single day. Wow, I love coconut. I love the scent of coconut. Like, why not do a video on all coconut products? So I created a theme and I had a lot of fun researching things that had coconut in them or like hidden coconut in them. I also found things in my collection that had more of a coconut scent or things that I thought should have a coconut scent because they're named coconut. It was just fun to help pair a lot of different things in my collection with other ones that maybe I wouldn't think about, but also to research into what I already had, and it was surprising. So go coconuts! Going more into the slow gaze vibe, why not swatch the same color of all your eyeshadows or all your blushes or what have you, but across palettes. So let's say I have a blue eyeshadow, like here, and let's say I was interested to see the difference between all the blues in my collection because, you know, that would help me differentiate and it would help me know my collection a little bit better. So of course the Pat McGrath one, super shimmery, really shiny. The Charlotte Tilbury, super blue. Going through your collection in this way gives you more depth of knowledge into how maybe you can pair palettes, especially if you have a lot. This is the Beauty Black Magic palette. It'll deepen your understanding of maybe how different brands formulate. If you look more into, let's say, oh, this is made in Italy and this one is too, like, are they from the same lab? They very well could be. And if they're in the same price point, you know, maybe you would prefer to buy this one over the other. Try to understand just what makes a certain blue work with your skin type. Really look at them and look at them at different lights, different angles, compare why you use one over another, the why. Next, we're past halfway on our list, mini project pan. I am not a hardcore project panner. I would love to hit pan on as many things as I can, but I'm not going to weigh it or take photos or progress necessarily as I go. One or two things in my routine that I want to pan and just get out of my life as fast as possible. So I would say, you know, in your collection, maybe choose one thing. That can be your like one mission as you go through and explore your collection throughout the days. Two examples here. This is the Pat McGrath Sublime Skin Fetish Pore Blurring Under Eye Powder. I don't use it. I'd rather look sweaty. I think it's very finely milled. It's gorgeous. The packaging is super flimsy. It doesn't even stay together. It just wants to, you know, open up. The mirror is so tiny that I can barely see what's happening. So I want to get rid of it because I spent so much money on it. On the opposite side of that, I have this Tata Harper Neopeptide Blush. That's what she's calling it nowadays, and very popular. And I bought this several years ago, even though it has like a 6-month recommended shelf life. I love this stuff to death. Out of my life. So I can thank it for its service, you know? I try to reach for it every single day. It'll give you a sense of satisfaction, it'll give you a sense of moving through your products, and it will also keep you kind of focused or take one step out of the, oh, what should I put on today? It'll always be that blush, let's say. So then you can kind of use your decision-making skills for other products as you explore. Number 7 is do an old-fashioned declutter. Throw everything onto your clean rug maybe, or put a towel down, or just go on the floor, what have you. I did mine on my bed like a couple days ago because I just needed to calm down and I needed a break and I needed to feel in control. Declutters help you feel like you have a control no matter what modicum of tiny amounts of control we have in this crazy time is something that you can control, and it also helps you sharpen your ideas of how much maybe you've spent this year on makeup. It helps you understand what you like in packaging, and I would suggest making a list of non-negotiables, kind of like in a relationship. X amount of dad jokes in a day, goodbye. Doesn't even close. I will never buy this again. The non-negotiables for me are changing. I'm educating myself, and I'm glad to be doing so whilst going through my collection, being mindful of what I continue to use. Make 3 non-negotiables, that's already wonderful. Let's say has to be vegan, has to be cruelty-free, and has to have a large mirror. Those already help to whittle down the sea of products that are constantly bombarding us. Number 8, I have a whole bag of samples. Now, I don't know how long they've been in there for, but I need to go through them, and I'm gonna do a video. Go through your samples with me, and then maybe we can do it together. If you are like me and you're always about like clicking the 2 free samples, it'll feel so good. Get those out of your life. If that sounds horrible to you, I also highly recommend just taking that whole bag and dumping it out. Ridding yourself of that type of pressure, because it's pressure, invisible pressure. I'm not recommending just throwing out collections willy-nilly or insensitive to the environmental impact. I'm just saying if that is causing you stress, let it go. Number 9 is do a whole face of makeup with products you never touch. Maybe there's an eyeshadow palette that you just never go into, or something that you're like, wow, I can't pull that off, or wow, I don't know how to use this. Just use it. Just put them all together and make the awkward kids stand in a room, and it's gonna be great. It's gonna be so great. Where did I hear this? Someone threw a party and the only requirement was that everybody wear their like old prom dress or some kind of formal wear or cummerbund or what have you that like they never wear. I thought that was a hilarious idea, and it also kind of tells you like, again, about your preferences and about why you don't touch it, or what kind of invisible baggage you're holding on to. Is it something that you're like, I wish I could fit into this again? or wow, I lost so much weight and I want it as a reminder, you know? Like these are all things that we carry around and they sit with us and we see them and they remind us either of some prior pain or some future hope. It represents way more than the object itself. Maybe revisiting some things that you never touch, either out of guilt or shame or all these mixed emotions, maybe it'll help you unlock some of that and maybe help you work through some of that. So number 10, and remember there's still an 11, make a list on paper of products that you would want to bring on a fantasy trip. I just got married last year and this year my husband Ben and I were going to go on a honeymoon. We planned for a trip to Copenhagen and to Paris. I have friends there. We didn't go, but I still dream about it. If you had any travel plans that were deferred or canceled, why not make a list of what you would have packed anyway? Channel Joan Didion, channel Patti Smith. Those are two like matriarchs that just are my North Star. I've seen pictures of their packing lists just scribbled on paper and it was so magical to me because they are such like writers and thinkers and activists and poets of their own right. They could curate their own stuff. They knew exactly how many pairs of socks they needed. Some of us can overpack. Some of us can decide, oh, I'm gonna bring 2 foundations because I don't know really which would be great for, you know, this climate. That's fine. Take the pressure off. You're not going on the trip. You're just writing it down. Really be ruthless and make the nicest, most curated packing list that you can. And if you mess up, do it over again, really whittle it down. Once you feel excited and satisfied, pin it up, it just feels like a worldly, experienced traveler kind of thing to do, but also kind of nonchalant. Don't forget to list any talismans or lucky skunks that you want to bring on your trip. Make it really personal to you. And let's say it happens in a couple of years and we can all safely come out of our bunkers. And when that day comes, you will see your little list. And what if it's the exact list that you want to bring? That would be so magical. Think about the length of time you'd be going. Think about the weather and climate that would be there. Do a little research. Think about any special activities like ziplining or scuba diving or occasions that might occur. Just dream it up and write it down. Last. Thank you so much if you are still with me here. This is something that I do on the regular and it is build your own palette. A magnetic, you can find these practically anywhere. Again, if you can support a brand that you know and love, go for it. You know, you can find these on Amazon too, but Amazon is such a behemoth. This is a ColourPop one. I have their large one as well. I'm all about the eyeshadows, so this is just holding eyeshadows. But let's say for Elate Cosmetics, I love their bamboo packaging and how they can do things with, you know, you can put 2 face products and then 2 eyeshadows, but you can also put 9 eyeshadows or what have you. Like, it's very customizable. This one was made to dupe or to complement this Tom Ford African Violets. I discovered that I had basically this type of color story already in these shadows, and then I bought this and I was like, wow, this makes so much sense. I love and I'm attracted to these colors. But yeah, this could be your African Violet palette. Like, name it, give it a reason for being. This could be my Milwaukee Weeds palette. Or if you don't like an empty palette, go for like something that in your collection you can depot and then repot. The classic example for me anyway is the Natasha Denona. She has the Metropolis palette midi size, which also lives in her bronze palette, sunrise palette, and love palette. Those all have interchangeable eyeshadow size pans. Her other ones, the star palette, the sunrise palette, the gold palette, Lila, Biba, Safari, you know, those all fit into this size. So if you have any of those that could be interchangeable, why not pop them all out? If it's important to you, write it down or take a picture as you go so you know which colors are where. If it doesn't matter to you and you really want to know about the color story, you know, this is my Lila palette now. She is way more color coordinated. I like to see exactly what I'm doing. Same with these two. This is her sunrise palette mixed with her bronze palettes. This is way more my neutral palette every day. I made sure that there was like a more exciting red pop in there that there was another purple from the Sunrise palette to complement this rhodium color. Here I made sure that there was more golds or neutrals, and then that these were sort of just speaking in a way more cohesive manner. This is like my neutral and this is my like colorful. So these two are like my perfect palettes, and they happen to be from Natasha Denona. I would name this Tiramisu Turtle, because I love those two things. What would you call this one? Help me name it in the comments below. I would love to hear. And that is all. Ones with these little pinholes on the back are actually really helpful. You can use a push pin, you can use a recontoured paper clip, you can also use, and this is what I used, a mechanical pencil that I just clicked like 4 or 5 times, and then the lead was strong enough, believe it or not, to just pot these out really carefully. If you're interested in depotting a Natasha Denona larger size palette, I used an X-Acto blade. There's just enough room, and then press a little bit against the side and you can pop it out very easily. There's nothing on the back that you can do that with, but I can do this time and time again and not destroy this foam packaging. And there you have it. This was a fun video for me. Hopefully it was useful to you. Hopefully it spurred some ideas. Let me know down below if you liked this kind of video. Also tell me what you think of this fabulous wall hanging, the light behind me. You know, just tell me about the vibe. I hope you are having a wonderful day or night wherever you are. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe. I would love to know that you're out there and you're listening. See you on my next one. Adios.